There's all lyrical geniuses in each side of town. I don't think really one side of town holds that title right now. That's kind of like a good question. Guys were called the Ill Strip. This Mid East Coast Conference right here, testing it. You try to see what people think before you put it out. You still ain't got no song. The challenge is don't be afraid to fail. What's going down? My name is Engineer Price. I go by Engineer Price, capital E. What's happening, fellas and ladies? All my peoples out there doing music, all the people all across America doing music. What's up? Born and raised in Wilmington, and I like to claim Wilmington as much more as Delaware, but I've been born and raised in Wilmington my whole life. I was raised out Belvedere, which is like on the outskirts of Wilmington. My mom really was not a person who would like us to be in the house, so the house was in Belvedere, but we were always in the city. She was a park director and a teacher for years. Being as though she's a park director, so we was at all the parks. Most of the homies I know from years, we used to hang out at the park, Chambers, right on by West End of City. And, you know, I've just been a city guy for that long in that light. But my raising, as far as those when I was, which is funny because Belvedere is actually a nice little music kind of city. Like a lot of the people that I met in that town, part of town, all do music, and they're pretty good at it. So Belvedere has its own musical kind of feel as well. I like to think Delaware has its own pockets. Wilmington, even its south side, South Bridge, its west side, east side, and its north. All those artists sound different. Very much so. And then you got Newcastle, they sound different. And then in Belvedere, there's just musicians and artists of like, and I'm pretty sure in other townships around here it's just like that. I just haven't been able to tap in yet.
Very much. Now, there are definitely different sounds. You know, Southbridge got its own vibe, and we know, the representatives over there. East Side definitely got a more grimy feel. You know, like we could say Southbridge more like trap style. I can say that. East Side trap style too, but they grimy. West Side is like. That's where I would say, this is my personal opinion, where a lot of the lyrical, like more creative rappers are. And North Side, I kind of feel like it's a combination of all things, just, like a lot of the North Side artists aren't really like.
I think they're all equal. Everybody has their own best in each side of town. There's all lyrical geniuses in each side of town. I don't think really one side of town holds that title right now. For me, personally, I have my own personal favorites, but I've heard so many good guys from each side of town that I couldn't kind of like narrow down to which side of town has the best lyrics. So it might be it might be a little homer on your side because, you know what I'm saying, you said West Side's the best side. And I'm a West Side nigga. So it ain't like I ain't, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie. I would think, well, no.
I would say that I don't want to give them like the most lyrical, but I would say like
that's their standpoint. That's their bottom. Like lyrics is what they. Yeah, I agree with that too. If you not even rapping about anything that's true, but then you got the younger culture, West Side guys. So the millennials more so, they really don't have a lot of that, but they have something that I can call it West Side because it's more open, it's a more freer style than someone from East Side who would rap about pain more or so on almost every record, or somebody from South Bridge who's gonna bring you what it's like to come from the struggle from the bridge. And South Bridge is kind of one of our oldest communities here, and I would think their whole family community feel from within their trap game is their big strength. Like, you know what I mean? It's like strength is in numbers, and they stick together over there. A lot of great artists from over there. Newcastle in itself, that kind of blends into Newcastle almost. And I know Newcastle has its pockets of artists as well. I haven't been able to tap into a lot of guys, and a lot of guys from Newark don't really come in the city like that, fearing the fact that, you know, it's the city, and I understand that part of it, but, you know.
You know, I talk to a lot of, like artists from all over. You know, some of them, they have a beer, Wilmington, but then there's always like this weird stigma, like Wilmington versus everybody kind of situation.
Right.
Me, personally, there's a ton of niggas in Newcastle that I really like.
Right.
There's a ton of people down the door. I just got put beats to artists in Smyrna. I didn't even know.
Right.
Artists in Smyrna.
Yes, sir.
But fire, Now.
Well, even though I was talking about the Wilmington guys and the people that I fool with up here, that doesn't mean the guys down Smyrna that I fool with aren't nice. I do have some Smyrna. Not too many Dover guys in the last couple years. Maybe when I was over at RMG, I felt like there was a lot more guys from down Dover and Maryland. You know what I mean? When here more so, I get more people from the upper tri-state. I get a lot of Jersey guys, a lot of New York guys, Philly, stuff like that.
All right. So like, what do you think that you maybe started engineering like before? Like before that, was you into music? Did you do music? Like, were you a rapper? Were you a part of a group? Or
Oh man, sheesh. Yeah, that's kind of like a good question. I'm gonna tell you, I was a rapper. I was one of the poopest rappers known to man. No, I'm joking. I wasn't poop, but when I say poop, and I say that lightly so everybody can feel themselves, because everybody gets in the booth and you got some bars, and then you feel like you're kicking it and you're killing it, and everybody's feeling you. I know, dog. I know everybody's feeling you. But when you get in the booth and you put it on a record, it don't always translate to a good song for everybody. And that's not any fault of yours. It's just that you don't know how to write a song or make a song. So, in the most cases, I didn't know how to make a song. And I knew how to kind of like bring some vibes out. And again, this was my beginning. I just was starting out. I knew I liked the music. I knew I didn't really care about anything else but music for a while. As far as those when I came out of college, I just wanted to kind of be around music more, and I got into a group that more so I found this group through my homie Eddie E Love. He took me to some guys. Actually, we had a battle. It was a real battle. It was a battle. So these guys walked from like the edge of Ellesmere. That's like the west side of Ellesmere, and these guys were called the Ill Strip. It was only two people at the time that I could kind of like put my finger on if it was the Ill Strip. But it started off with the brothers. His name was Marvar, and Mudu. Marvar. So they walk over to the crib. I'm fresh out of college, you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling myself. I knew I could kind of spit styles. Like, I could probably style switch with the best of them. But, you know what I'm saying, content-wise, if you're not writing all the time, then you may say and slip up and say something stupid. So it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, we're freestyling, but don't take it too serious. We're freestyling. So I'm going over, but at this time I took it real serious. I'm staying with my baby's mother at the time. Well, it's still my girl right now, my fiance.
Congrats.
No, yeah, thank you. So they walk over to this apartment. I'm at West Court Apartments. They walk from the edge of Ellesmere. They get over there with my homie. So immediately when they get in, you know what I'm saying? I don't even remember if we kicking a beat or not, bro. It was like, it's a battle, so I'm going at them. I don't remember what I said. I'm pretty sure they probably don't know what they said. But even to this day, people that don't know these two know that these guys are really serious lyricists. You know what I mean? And I don't know who the hell I thought I was to be rapping against two lyricists like this. But I'm telling you, I was giving them some work, I think, in my mind. And, the story goes is that, started off like that, started rapping with them. They told me I can come around. Mar had equipment, had an MPC. You know what I'm saying? I had fingered around, God pause, with some darn keys before. I was playing with some stuff before, so I know how to kind of key and do some stuff from being from Belvedere. You know, my friends played was musicians. So okay, so I'm out there and we made beats at the time. So I'm just jumping in the story here, just trying to save some time. So I started making beats because I was like, yo, I know how to make beats, and I really I like to make beats. So I started making beats for the squad and rapping and trying to get my way up like anybody else that comes in the studio and has like a group. There's a main guy, and then you got another guy, and then you got some guys in the back. They know some bars and they can rap, but they can't really rap. They just know they want to be in the game. That's where I was. So with that, with the ill strip, it took me places. I went places, Power 99. We went out there. My boy battled Miss Jade at some point. When we was in Chester, we were back and forth with mad stars. If I sit here and just say all the old head names, it'd be murder. But you know, I just traveled with the guys, and I was just a little underling guy, and I was just trying to figure out my way. But I knew some stuff, so me and Marvar were kind of like hand and foot when I would go places with him. So I mean, I loved it, man. It was one of my greatest attributes to try to become a rapper. Then I became a producer almost, in a sense. Like, I was making some beats. Like, I could play some shit. You'd be like, yeah, that shit's all right. But it's not all right. You know what I mean? There's people out here that's really doing this thing. And, you know, with engineering, I like to think I really do this thing. Like, I ain't playing around with it. So, like, if that's the case, you know what I mean? Anybody who's just dabbling with it, they can't fuck with me. You know what I mean?
Definitely got a lot of like experience in this,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of tenure, right? So over the years you must have worked with a diverse range of rap artists, right? So
True.
how do you
True.
adapt your engineering style to accommodate different vocal styles and personalities?
I think when I first started, the best thing that I had, best characteristics I had was I wanted the person to sound good. You know what I mean? I got in the business for the fact of when I did all that stuff for Marvar and all that stuff I was doing, I met up with where I'm at now, the guy James Bailey, JB. He said, go ahead, come to work with this and stuff. And I would hear records and I'd be like, yo, that's not how a record's supposed to sound. So I would kind of like get into it where I wanted to make the record sound good. Fast forward. Now, when I get somebody in here who's eclectic, they very musical, very different, I'm open to it because I want them to sound good. You know what I mean? You came to me for a reason. And first of all, if you're open enough to at least the business part of this first, I'm going to give you everything I can to help you through the business part and then the music part, because a lot of times people don't have it both ways. And then sometimes if they do have both of them, they may try to big boy me and act like, you know, they know all this good stuff and everything. But, you know, we already know that you came to me for a service. And as we discussed earlier, it's an extreme game of give and take. So like when I was younger and I didn't know what I was doing, just make them sound good. And then that's where I'm at. But today's date, where I'm at now, you kind of like got to get into the artist. You got to really sit there and vibe with the artist, become the producer for the artist, engineer, producer, and give it its light because you feel where they're coming from. So some of the colors with the reverbs and the delays and stuff going to have to resonate as that artist's stuff. You know, that's pretty much.
Like, you know, and you was like seeing, you know, I know you and your personal development and growth as an audio engineer will definitely like expand after dealing with challenge after challenge after challenge.
Yeah.
Right? Artists need to understand, right? Like,
You know what? Hold off. I don't want to cut you. Before you say that, the challenge is don't be afraid to fail, too, with that. So, I mean, go ahead, because I failed so many times trying to do it, and then I was like, oh, that didn't sound good. The artist said it didn't sound good. It's probably been a few years, and the person said something like, well, it wasn't this or that, and then I was like, well, how do I fix that? You know what I mean? It's one of them.
Like, definitely, and I think that is one of the strengths you gotta fail to learn. In school, they don't really test you on what you know, because you're gonna pass. They gotta test you on what you don't know.
Yeah,
So you
true.
gotta learn.
Truly, truly, truly.
Now, but what I was gonna say is like artists, like still to this day, like mind you, it's been at least for me seeing the scene down here, at least about 15 years, probably more. Oh, of course more, but for me, I'm seeing about maybe like about 15 to maybe 18 years ago. Now, what I see is that like artists still don't understand that this is a pay to play kind of like field. It's an industry, and I say that to say like, yeah, there's gonna be challenges with getting an artist to sound right too, but an artist might only pay for a few hours. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
2 hours, and listen, out of love, I gave you a little extra than the 2 hours, and now here you are trying to get the sound to sound right, and then you mad that it don't sound like you kind of got to come back for a separate mixed session. So I would stress that that's important. Now, engineers, they need that kind of respect, and they need that kind of perspective. Now, have you like not mentioning names, but are there like artists that come? Pause. Are there artists that approach recording and mixing with that kind of strategy?
Right.
Are there, and have you dealt with many of them?
Okay, good question again, my guy. I tell you right now, I personally like the one hitter quitters because that's how I came up. Just like anything else, you come up in the game where you come up. Well, so when I was engineering and I was at the height of learning and competition, meaning like I cared if I was better than this engineer and we would battle and kind of like have songs out there and I'll try to get better than that. Now I kind of like really kind of like self-absorbed and try to work on myself more. But I came up from that era where you get an hour and the song sounds hot. Actually, so I'm not really in disagreement with an artist coming in, doing an hour session, and they leave and they can go on YouTube. I'm cool with that. But what I'm saying is, if you're for what you're saying, I'm going to just piggyback off what you're saying. You do have to come in for a mix when you start to hear little things in the details in the song where in which that you might want to make it a song. So if you want to make it a song and you want to get the extra mix in there, of course it's going to sound. I don't care if you didn't want to get the mix in there. If I had another hour with the song, of course, any engineer is going to sound good to get the mix done. And again, a lot of these guys aren't really buying the songs or trying to get the record. So sometimes these things are for naught. But as like I like to say with all the artists that don't know, I'm gonna get you right from the perspective of where you are. Sometimes you not where other artists are of understanding that mixed part. So I don't want to just like go over your head with it and act like, you know what I'm saying, this is going to be how the process is, because like I like to tell all my first timers, if you come to me and you say you're working with me like exclusively or like I work with Price, like the moniker, yeah, I worked with Price. This is what I want you to do. I want you to be nice at wherever you go. You can't just be nice where I'm at. You got to be nice wherever you go, because sometimes you're going to work in studios that's smaller, bigger, and you may work with a big artist. You need to know what your etiquette is. You need to know how you're working, how you work, not how he works, how that person works. I could use every analogy in the world, whatever you into, sports, video games, I don't care, whatever you into, you cannot be in comparison to anyone else but yourself. This run of the race is for you. You know what I mean? It's been so many times that you have to be in a competition or you're not going to be spirited enough to go to the next level. So some people might be in the crib like, yeah, I ain't going to let nobody hear it and all that. But that's not the way to go about it. Just come on, get your little 1 hour like you think you need to, and then I'm going to make the song hot. Then you're going to go home, you're going to put it out, and then you're going to make about 4 or 5 more of those. I'm just talking about to the new artists. And then if you come out and you really want to make a song, like, you know what, Price, I think I want to make this song. It's about my girl, my mom, my sister, this type of deal, like something sentimental to you. It can't not be those things. Anything more than drugs or something like material, you know, something that really resonates with people, because material stuff always going to resonate with people. We're just materialistic people. But at the same time, when you really get into your heart and you write a song that's really like opening up your heart for people to feel like, who are you as an artist? Yeah, you might want to get that song mixed after you heard you messed up on a word or two. And now, if I was really the Dr. Dre of things, I'd sit you down for a couple hours and run you back and tell you you did this word wrong and no, fix this and that, and we'll be talking about a whole different ordeal. But that's not where, I'm not Dr. Dre. So, what I mean, I like when people make comparisons to me to big producers and stuff like that, but I'm nowhere near those greats. I'm just trying to be as good as them with what I know from what I've learned and what I'm trying to teach.
I think you had an excellent response, and it even kind of segued into something that I kind of wanted to get into. Now, coming up, like it was very competitive. So guys would get into the studio, and it just be a bunch of rapping, like not necessarily songs. But we go back to like '06 to like it's 2023 now. The recording landscape has changed so significantly.
Right.
So like now, mind you, like from maybe like 2006 to like, at least in my opinion, but from 2006 to like maybe 2010, it's a bunch of rappers that's just rapping.
Right.
Then as, we're introduced to social media, the internet's getting more buzzy, YouTube is becoming a big thing, people are getting visually seen, the streaming platforms start to open up, and you see a shift in music, it becomes more melodic, which is fine. I like melodic music. You have artists now trying to figure out where they want to go with their craft.
That's true.
You have, a lot of artists getting more surgical in their delivery. You got, rappers trying to sing, singers trying to rap.
Yeah. This is true.
Like, all of this
Right.
is necessary.
Yes, it is.
But like, what are some of the significant changes that you see? Because mind you, I know you got a local experience, and I know you've seen many talents. But I know from everything from the rapping to the recording to the mixing to even how music is digested.
Yeah.
How do you see all of it?
Well, I tell you, it's like this. Well, a lot of these people out here are kind of like bougie engineers. I'm not that engineer, you feel me? And I like to think as an engineer, sometimes I'm a producer because I have to arrange the song, mix it up, drop the beat, certain spots, and all this other stuff that makes it kind of go. So I like to say the producer part of me would like to say I'm not bougie. So if a guy wants to do a 1-bar song and he repeats it all the way through, how do I know that that's not the newest, hottest thing? How do I know that? If I'm like, no, don't do that. You know what I mean? So a lot of times when people come with their for sure ideas, I want to help bring that to light. And I think everybody who's in the industry should try to do like that when you're trying to do an art, a service for somebody, especially the artists and the videographers and such. But I like to go back and say, we kind of just started out getting into this multimedia thing in the area, and it may have been going on for a long time, but I think us as a area, we've just really got our feet wet with what we can do and how it's done. It's a shame that most of the guys from an era in which that the real spitters, I know for certain, are more equipped for this light, but moved on to other things. You know what I mean? Like to sit around and wait for somebody to come through and actually do the things that you need to would be darn near asinine at this time because of the person's what they got going on. They couldn't just drop everything and become this rapper that you need to become. But if you are that rapper that you need to become and you want to become that rapper that you need to become, you are going to just expand all your energy, all your time. You're going to argue with your baby's mom about if you're going there, you're going home. No, I'm going to the stew. And you're really going to the stew. You're not really fucking around because you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of immature people out here and there's a lot of mature people out here. But sometimes when you use the stew as your get out and then when you get found out, the next thing you know, the first thing they hate is your career as a rapper. That's not my fault. That's like, yo, bro, I know what you're going through. We all had our times where we just weren't who we need to be in life for the significant others in your family because people counting on you. When they hear that first record and they said, I like him, that means that's a fan. So now you have an obligation to make your fan happy at all times. I gotta drop stuff, and then that kind of gives you the energy to drop. So I mean, a lot of these guys may drop a lot of run-on songs. Like I've heard countless artists that come to me after they first come. They like, yo, people don't like you. That's fine. They're gonna like you after I come. After I fool with you, they're gonna like you because we're gonna work on what's the patterns that we're working on. You know, it's just like any coach. I'm not gonna do what I would do. I'm just gonna do what you're best at. I'm gonna coach you at what you're best at, and then bring that out. So a lot of times that could be really abstract. You know what I mean? You don't know what could come out of the person's mouth, and that's why I don't like it when you got people in your squad that's with you and they're not open to it. You got me sitting there, you're in the booth. You got people out here, they not rocking with you. You know, how am I supposed to act? You want me to act fake? Because I'm not. That's not what's going to happen, bro. I got to, like, do what I'm supposed to do to make you going, especially as a paid client or even as a friend of mine. Because after a while, I've probably made more friends in the music business than I've had in any other football or school or work. You know how people have work buddies and shit like that. But, you know, I got a lot of work client friends that I fuck with that's really cool.
You know what they say, you know, a client will become a friend faster than a friend will become a client.
How about that? I didn't hear that before.
It's crazy that it works that way. You know,
Yeah.
but like, you know, working, business, relationships, you know, it provides that happy medium or that common ground.
Truly.
You know, we got a common interest here, and now there's money involved, and we don't really want to play. I mean, there's some people
that's the big part, though. Money's involved.
Yeah.
Because when I first started doing this, I didn't want to do it. I would have did half the shit for free, more than half. But what I learned was if the person's not paying for it, he's not going to put that much into it. Yeah, an hour can go fast when you're not paying for it, and you be like, oh man, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? But when you're paying for that hour, you're gonna try to get 2-3 songs out because, like anything else, you know you're paying for something, and you get the quality of what you pay for, and doing within the hour what you want to do. Like some of my more seasoned artists know they need an hour just to get warmed up sometimes. So by the time the second or third hour, they're already warmed up. The songs is hot. They might want to go fix something back on the first song. You know, that's some of those things that people don't know about seasoned artists. And another thing that people don't know on the West Coast, you either have to do full day or half day sessions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's like 4 or 8 hours. Huh?
yeah, you gotta give them all day or half of the day, and they're not playing around either. So you want to come in there and do some things that you're not.
Oh, you know another thing that they do over there, which is crazy to me, with the half day or the full day like sessions or blocks, they actually rent the studio out to you. So even if you don't like the engineer that's there, you bring your own engineer, you bring your people.
Yep.
You bring, if the place is yours, it's almost like an Airbnb.
Yes.
Which is crazy to me. I said, oh, they don't really do that over here. I mean, like.
Yes. We would love to do that over here once that, like I just said, we're just getting on the multimedia wave. Who knows how long it's going to be before you can just have a building, people just go in there and run in there and do what they got to do and get out of there. And a lot of times, if you're really in the business and you really care about your music, the thing is, you utilize that time by having all your people coming through that you're supposed to get. As far as though as your, I'm just telling you, as far as though as your what you call it, your features. You know, you get your producers in there. He might want to make a beat. That shit takes time. If he wants to craft a beat around you and y'all want to work that out, you know, and as an engineer myself, I can sit there. I would sit there all day and just know what to do. If I sat the engineering session out, I could just know what to do by how many people came in. But if I was just the recording engineer and I had to send that out, I already know what to do when I send it out because of everybody who came in. Like, these things aren't for us right now, but as we line up in the future, I think more people will be ready for these things because they need them, not because they want them. You know what I mean? Right now, it's like everybody wants to do an hour and make it rich. I mean, I'm going to make this song, and I only need one song, OG. I know you only need one song, but at the same time, by you getting that one song, you got to be for sure what you're doing, and if you're not, then that's okay too. Just know that it's not that easy sometimes.
You gotta have
that's all.
a real plan. Well, at least in my opinion, now this this is the rapper side of me talking. Like, you gotta have, because anytime that I'm going into the studio, I like to have an idea of what I'm doing, but there gotta be room for creativity. So, figure it out while you're in the studio, but like, everybody got their own method. Everybody got their own method. You'll see some artists, they'll just show up, they don't got no material. You just gotta be. They'll just, I'll make it. While, punch me in. Fine. That works.
Right.
It gets, to me, redundant after a while. Freestyling, and it kind of like makes you say a lot of the same stuff.
Yes, sir.
But then, there's some artists.
Yes, sir. That's true. That's true. You be saying the same stuff repetitively.
Same, you talk about me, rolling on my wrist. Like, that's like a safe word. That's a safe phrase for them to get to the next line.
Yes, sir.
So a lot of artists got
that safe word.
Phrase to get to the next line, but most of the content and the substance is still going to be very repetitive.
Yeah.
But then you got artists that, like, they might come into the studio and they don't have material, but they'll write it out right there.
It's true. This is true.
Then you also have artists that will come in, they got everything, listen, I'm ready to go. I would say that, artists, and maybe, like, is there now I'm going to say specific, but is there a preference to, like, the kind of artist? I know you open to every artist, but, like, what makes engineering comfortable, smooth,
or easier for me?
For you, yeah.
Environment. So I try to make the environment as peaceful for you. You know what I mean? If you need it rowdy, that's fine too. But you know what I'm saying? It's got to be controlled in the sense that you're controlling the shit. It's fucking rowdy, but we're like, we're in a session and I need this and I need this girl's over here shaking and, you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers over here shooting dice and shit. If you need that shit to make your record like it's the 90s and shit, that's fucking fine. But for me personally, I totally believe that you need total solitude between you and the record. Like, whatever the fuck you need to do to get into that fucking song, you better fucking do it, because I know for certain the comfortability that you have off the record, and then when you get on there and you ask me how does that sound, that's just already a moniker of you didn't even fucking know how it sounded. You know what I mean? Some people are sure when they let it off their tongue, like, oh yeah, that was it. And we might go back through it and be like, oh, we might have missed a word or two, but 9 times out of 10, that nigga's right. We got it. We got what we wanted. So a lot of times I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying, make sure you know what you want to do. Your environment's right. Make sure that you go ahead and do what you got to do to get your words out. Don't be too inebriated, because you'll hear it. We'll be on the record, and maybe you do drunk records, but it's only but a couple of years you could do those drunk records before you not remember the songs, or you're like to the extent where you're almost counting on the liquor to get the song out. We're not supposed to be doing that. You're the artist, not the bottle. So a lot of times we want to get ourselves in a comfortable zone, just like kind of like a boxer or UFC fighter training. You're in your moderate phase, or you're too hot, or you're right where you're in your peak person, like you right where you need to be. I need you to be right where you need to be, so we can just get the drawings out, because a lot of times you're gonna lose your vocal, you're gonna miss a word, and a lot of stuff just happens during a recording session that you could never calculate. A lot of times we want to be comfortable. So what I learned was, for your comfortability as an artist or anyone else, you come in. You ain't got to worry about no bullshit. Ain't nobody knocking on the door. Ain't no crazy shit flying over your head. Ain't people running around, buzzing around. The temperature is controlled to your control. If you need it hot, nigga, then it's hot. If it's, I'm not really okay with that shit. Like, damn, put a fan on pressure at least. But if that's not the case, then let's have controlled environment. The temperature's right. Your alcohol and content and your whatever drug you're into is at the right level, because a lot of that shit, I don't think people really recognize how much drugs and alcohol they're doing during these sessions. I mean, if you wrote the record and you was drunk, it's different. I mean, I can understand that, but when you're recording the record, it's like you gotta be able to step like you're supposed to step. You know what I mean? I know for certain it's one of those things.
So is there like a project that you it can be from any time that you're like most proud of, or is there a few, or like and without even if you don't know them off top, or you don't want to say names or anything, like is there like any like projects that you've had answered that you're like, yeah, I love this project, I had parts in this, I'm glad that we did this, and that was a specific time in my life, that really, really is like a memory.
I would say yes. And for me, as weird as it sounds, that happens in every session. I mean, because if I'm not into the artist enough to really feel what they got going on, I'm not going to be able to give the best of what I think I can do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I have my favorites as far as though as, like, my son came to me and I didn't think he was a rapper. Oh, you play professional football. Oh, nigga, you ain't no rapper, nigga. Get out here. Oh, shit. I'm looking at it like, oh, damn, you did records when you were in college. He just didn't let me hear them and shit. So people already have back stories of what they're doing. I got my OG P Dot. I'm fucking with him. I call him my OG, but that's because he just talks in that manner. I'm actually older than P Dot. But I got him. I got motherfucking Chino. There's all types of people. I could talk about people that just never, even with Bird. Like, I know I've worked with Bird plenty of times. With Bird, I worked with his homie Miriak more than I worked with Bird. But Bird was the kind of person that he was never satisfied with the records because it's like, it's missing something, it's missing something. That kind of stuff make you better. When somebody says it's missing something, you know what I mean? I'm like, what am I missing? And when I finally found it, the day that I was making plug-in settings, because I always change my plug-in, my plugins and shit. Like the way that it goes, I just keep evolving. But there's one plug-in setting that I had, I just said, this is the Bird. And when I say that, that was like a locked-in session, a locked-in situation that I still use today as a template for anyone who wants to just do anything that's just open bass, not really relatively to what my ear sounds like and what needs to be like, that sounds good. No, just open, you know what I mean? Because after you get to the mix, that's when you start to get into the EQing and compression stuff. But as far as what I know, when you come and record with me, you're going to start off, and if it doesn't sound good from the beginning, people are like, what the fuck? Basically, your compression going in has to sound good. So it starts with the mic. You know what I mean? I do like a certain mic. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
I don't even have to ask some of these things because you're going through them.
Okay.
Like, who's crazy? Look.
Okay, no doubt. So like the mic part of it is very important for me because that's the beginning accentuation of how we're sounding and shit. So even if we use one of these mics, I always say I could record on a cup. I could, but it take me so long to mix out the bullshit. And so it take me so long to mix out the dirt. You'd have to pay 3 hours with a bad mic to get the shit sounding crystal clear. But it's not really that. I know a lot of times I wasn't knowledgeable of a lot of this shit before. So I'm thankful, fully thankful for every artist who come to me because they taught me something along the way. I mean, when I first started, there was guys like Aviator Keys out there, very good artists, great artists. I mean, you just go from Aviator Keys to Doobie Keys. Like, I'm talking about just the two of those guys itself gives me motherfucking chills right now because they're so fucking dope. How they make you feel when they're on record, giving you their fucking best fucking bars. You're like, this nigga's crazy. God damn. You're like, where did they come from? You know what I'm saying? Cause the religion, like, you just resurfaced back to where I know, you know what I mean, I'm hearing your music more and I'm seeing you. But I'm telling you, bro, like, you give me chills like that too. You're like anybody who really spits this shit. Like, when you're on a record and you really feeling your shit, nigga, who can't feel that? That's what I'm saying. Now, when I'm in session and I'm getting that feeling from you, I got it. I know where I'm supposed to be. I know what I'm supposed to do. And, a lot of times, even the most, you have to be really, really bad not to get to this point with me in a session. You know what I mean? Even if I have to get to it at the end of the session where I'm talking to you and like, look, young man, don't do this, or young lady, try to do this, try to do that. Usually people are pretty open to it, but I've had sessions where people haven't come back and they're like, and I've done, like I said, crazy work for them, like put in extra work for these young ladies who I thought were dope. There were some young ladies I thought were dope. They were younger. They couldn't have been no older than the age of a Sprite or of a 20-something, right? So I'm like, okay, yeah, yo, dope. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could be the next whoever, whatever. But, you know, you want too much when you're saying, fix this, and you're not knowing the business of, if I tell you that you're supposed to get it fixed, I'm not saying it's on me, but I'm asking you to understand the business. I would never tell you, you need to do this. I wouldn't tell you that. I'm telling you, I'll give you the option of knowing what you need to do and knowing what you can do. Because there's some stuff, my hands are tied. I'm not going to be able to sit here for 5 hours and you bought an hour. There's nothing I can do about that. Even as the manager here, it's like this out of pocket. I couldn't rightfully write that off as I was teaching this young man something. I could teach a young man something in an extra hour, not 4 hours. Not you wanted it for, the session cost 70, but you wanted it for 40. Well, you came 3 times, and 70 times 3 is a lot of money, young man and lady. I understand that. But it costs to be the boss. And a lot of times you go to these other studios, you spend 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, and you still ain't got no song.
And you're getting what you pay for, too.
You still ain't got no song. I'm trying to get you the song out, so we got to work together. So I'm going to get you the song out.
I think a lot of artists don't understand an engineer that wants to build and work with them versus an engineer that's paid to be there.
Yeah,
Because
I got you.
A lot of times, $40, yo, you're going to just get what you paid for. You're going to go in there, you're going to record, and after that hour, I got to send you on your way. So now, if you need that track, whatever it was, to sound good, you got to come back and pay me more. You know, because I'm not here to build with you, I'm here to do a service that you pay for.
This is why all the seasoned vets, engineers, you can't find them. Because at the time when they were trying to institute what we're starting to become today, and which I like to do here at Red Room Recordings, it's hard for me to fathom or think about how deep it is, why they quit, right? Why they stopped doing what I'm doing. And then, you know, years later, I figure out, dang, that's what it is. It's the artists. They over here. Oh man, people are, you know, threatening your life, and they're around you all the time, and they're taking you for granted, and you know, they may see you somewhere and talk to you certain ways that you wouldn't expect to be talked to. Like, but you know what, my man, sometimes being in this business, I know for certain I have to endure these things, but only thing I can do to keep them away from me is to prepare you for what you're doing. If somehow I missed through preparation that I didn't catch that you needed something, then it's my fault. But I'll tell you what, we're going to make that up. You know what I mean? Just like we were talking earlier, if you're a videographer and you lost the material or your equipment got messed up or something, and you lost somebody's stuff, then you owe them a song. Hell, you gave them over too. You know what I mean? We're going to get that shit the fuck together. That's how I do it. I'm not going to be sitting here talking about, and you know what? I can't be mad at most people because, shit, the person that I love to death, my wife, says I'm too fucking cool with the shit. She wants me to be fucking, I mean, it could be something, the bomb's just about to fall. I'm like, hold on, chill. Hold up. Okay, I know what to do. Somebody's got to be chill. Somebody has to be chill. So a lot of this stuff, I'm really, really kind of like going to try to smooth it out. If my anxiety gets high, excuse me, because it has happened before. And for me being a long-standing OG for a lot of people, the older person, I like to say that, and around you guys, I like to at least be the coolest person in the room because it makes no sense to see me go off. It doesn't make any sense to see me fraternize or do too much. You know, I want to kind of like put that in your heart that I'm really here to support you. And I'm an older person. I'm not really playing around with this shit. You know what I mean? I stayed in this game, unlike the other engineers that I came up with that are way better than me still to this day. Only reason I can even say I'm in the game with them and they can give me kudos and say, damn, he said that about me. I really fuck with Price, man, but I think he nice too. Only reason I'm even in that conversation is because I paid homage. I listened. I gave them the right to be who they are. I learned. I didn't take out too much. I put in just enough. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I could have moved a little faster if I was for sure about what I wanted to do earlier. You know what I mean?
You know, we all grow. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and gotta grow into what it is that we want. Like, do you
No, no, no doubt.
like from your perspective, like, are there any like historical moments that happened with Delaware music, or has there been any entities, parties, groups, studios,
Mm-hmm.
artists, or anybody that's done anything where you look at it, it's like, you know what, that's dope, you know?
RMG was dope because I'm gonna just run it down the line. RMG was dope because it had a different feel. Just when I thought all studios were the same, they weren't.
Yeah.
The artists were different. The vibe was different. Studios have their own vibes. The competition between those studios and working with Tony Castro before Third World really kind of came into existence. I worked with Tony. Tony taught me some of the same skills that I use today about engineering and making beats and stuff. I kind of really was on his shoulder about making beats. Yeah, I didn't really care about this shit. Nigga, teach me some shit. But I really wanted to know how to make beats, and he knew how to make beats like that. Tony Castro was making beats and recording motherfuckers and sliding shit with no fucking. You gotta dial in the BPMs into the motherfucking Logic. He was sliding shit with no fucking BPM dialed up. Like, he's a fucking genius. He's a goat. You know what I mean? I loved that being a part of what he gave, being a part here that allowed me to be around those people, being around learning from people like Shaka Pitts was like a grandfather to battle rap to what it is today. Being around just all the artists that people will come in. I mean, every person, if I had to sit here and tell you what they did for me, man, I'd probably break down in fucking tears, man. Like, there's so many niggas and ladies that were like so not like inspirational, and I met people along the way that were just like coming up, and we'll have some good conversations and such. But I think I equally take everybody as if they're a star. I didn't come in like the game like that, but once my son, he's retired now, was a professional player, I kind of learned that, people with money play differently. And when I say that, I mean the mind states differently when you're able to do what you want to do at any time of the week. It may not be like that for everyone else, and you may not never have it like that. But just know that just like when you go to a church, there's this expectation of how you're supposed to act. It's like that when you're around rich people, and rich people, it's like that when you're around people that aren't so rich. To come around and say that you're the guy and we should all just be clamoring around you, I get that. As an artist, that's fine. Leave that shit for the motherfucking record, though. Because, nigga, when you hanging out with me, I'm just trying to have a good time. I don't want to be sitting there trying to stroke your fucking ego. I don't even. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you, brother. That's not how it goes. And more so, I think, not to say that I was just in the middle. I just thought I was well equipped for that because I played with people who did have money before, and I thought it was just all the same. And I was like, damn, it's easier when you fool with people who are in a corporation or doing things that's like big funded, it's easier because they expect less from you. They just want it to get done. My thing is, yes, sir, yes. My thing is, I really want to be a part of, when there's history out there, there has to be some part of it where what we're doing over here, what we discussed as artists, you, me, and everybody else who believes in each other like we do, that they get it. Like the world, that America gets it. They get where we're coming from, what we got going on, not no other shit. However we got it jumping is what we got it going on. That would, to me, it doesn't have to come from me, but I know it will come from me because I stand elite with people who are fucking standing 10 toes down no matter what hits them. You know what I mean? What we've endured has been worse than some of the stuff that can happen to a person without putting an analogy on it that's gonna fucking make somebody mad. We're fucking like really going to war with people and better than them. We're way better than them. And it's not about us. We don't stick together and all that. It ain't about that shit, dog. If that's our fucking light, if they say that we don't stick together, then that's our strength, nigga. We ain't sticking with you if you fucking start fucking up. That's what it means. Just what the fuck it means. I mean, I know, like Philly fans, you know, a lot of America, I'm a big sports guy, gets on the Philadelphia Eagles fans or whatever, Philadelphia fans in itself, because we'll turn on you in a heartbeat. That don't mean we don't fucking love you, dog. It just means like, if you cheated on me, nigga, I don't fuck with you. Like, that's the shit. Like, you fucked up. You didn't dunk it. You missed the dunk or some shit, or you dropped a touchdown and shit, nigga. This your fucking job, nigga. Don't fuck around. Because we're all out here in the area outside of your job. We're all working hard, arm in arm, blue. You know what I mean?
Like, we hoping you tap into what we putting out for you to do.
Yeah. And not only that, cause it's how we live. We go to work every day. And none of our bosses expect us to fuck up. So I'm sorry that you think because you're a fucking superstar athlete or a superstar fucking what's the name that I can fuck up. You know what I mean? Nobody's dealing with that. I like to think of it really harsh because when I fuck up, I'm the first to hear it in my job setting. You know, it's like, damn, I might even hear it. Like, I might not even got to the ad libs yet. I might have just recorded them. I'm just playing it back. My man's like, yo, turn my ad libs up, Price. My ad libs too low. I'm like, God damn, I'm awesome. I got you, bro. Just let me, I just tell you, like, I ain't even mix it yet. Like, we go through little stuff like that. But it's like that. Like, I really feel like we're really accountable for what we do in this area. The Mid-East Conference is the most serious conference in all conferences. We would beat up on the certain conferences, be our little small, whatever, but this Mid-East Coast Conference right here is fucking tough. Man, we tough, man.
Well, with that being said, how do you feel about, you know, like competition? You know, and there's a lot of ways you can answer or respond because, you know, competition isn't all bad. There's friendly competition, you know, people just striving to be better for themselves. And then they show up to like ciphers or battles with their A games. And then there's competition like, I think I'm just better than him. I don't like him. You know, he's not fucking with. I don't care about him. Like, he from west side of town, man, them niggas is all we I
tell you, let me get this juice real quick. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's really it's not anything about competition that is bad. Now, competition as far as for women, it's not really in them to be competitive to this degree. Like, you know, I'm just going off of just what I know. What do I know? I know there's basketball players and other elite women who do boxing and fighting and stuff. That's competitive, but I just think as a main kind of like energy competition is not into a lot of women. Men, there's from what I know, from being a coach from different sports and different stuff and doing this coaching here. Competition thrives you. It drives you almost. It makes you just go to a different level. You know, you ever heard somebody get mad because maybe their mom or somebody said their music was poop? Who knows? Next thing you know, that next song come out, that joint crazy. Like, damn, he's snapping.
Nori, right? Speak on. It was a hip hop 50 anniversary like type of interview, and he was talking about KRS-One when he dissed Queens.
Yeah.
Bridges over. He said, "Yo, like it was a love-hate thing, but it made everybody in Queens want to be better."
Yes.
And that's what it produced.
Yes, it did.
It produced all great artists and talents, athletes, everything.
Queensbridge, all that. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. That's what I'm saying. The competition from every side will help you when you're into what competition is. Competition sometimes when you're not a competitive man or woman, you could think that someone's kind of coming at you and you're hating and all that stuff. I mean, that's okay too, but as a person that understands where we're at with this game, you're going to get hate. You're going to be hated. You're not going to be loved by everyone. So that should be another fuel for your energy, you feel me? Like, let that fuel you, if not anything, because I myself have never fucking had, like I said earlier in the interview, the competition is what made me get better because I'm like, nah, I'm better than Magic. I'm better than Mark on the boards. I'm better than more Magic. I'm better than these guys. What made me say that without any fucking clear visual was people telling me I was. Not because I felt it. People would tell me I'm good. So even to this day, homies that tell me if I'm better than a certain area, that excites me now. Now it's not, the competition ain't from here. It's like, oh, am I better than who's over here and that? And there's some good engineers out there right now, for real. Shout outs to Schoolgirl. Shout outs to who else is out here? I'll get through the names later, but Google was the first person that came to mind. He's a great engineer. A lot of people go to him. He's good. Go to him. He's good. What excites me now is, yo, you sound better than the cats in Atlanta, or I sound better than the cats in New York that they know or fool with. I'm cool with that. Right now, I'll even listen to a record. I'll probably get into the car when I'm ready to get out of here, listen to something on Sirius Radio. I'm like, you know what? Am I good as this guy who mixed this song? I got to get my shit right. Let me see what's going on over here. I'm listening to all types of music, from pops to old school stuff. A lot of the old school stuff I won't take too much from because it's a new school game now. So a lot of the digital stuff, I want all new motion. I need all new motion. So like some of these new sounds and reverbs and stuff may come from me one day. It might be like, damn, that's a new sound. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I need to be on that. You know what I mean?
Now, gotta get a little, controversial because there is a opinionated top 10 Delaware list going on. So, but before we even have to really go to this one that's floating around now, we can honestly say for it's 2023 now. So since like maybe 2013, 10 years, every year or a few years here in between, there's always been somebody's opinion putting a list out about rappers being the best in the entire state. I don't think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that when the opinions come out, every talent is considered. And I don't think that every statistic is considered. I don't think that a lot of the rappers are super active, and it's based on a lot of biasness, which is fine. Mm-hmm. I think that it ruffles a lot of feathers, but what would you say for the artists that want to be considered on these kind of like lists to be relevant to actually being mentioned on this list? What would you advise those artists to do?
Get on the list. There's no other. I'm just telling you that this is what we just talked about. It's crazy that you said it because you segued into your own situation right now. It's about the competition of it. It's shout outs to CTF Zoo for putting out a list. How else are you want to do better? That's why we ain't doing nothing, because nobody even has anything to compare to. You think you're good because you're at the house and you did your shit, and everybody in your neighborhood said you was good, like 25 people that you fucking know, and the other 25 people, they just saying yeah because they want to get you out your face and shit. They don't even want to hear your music. Like, fuck them 50 people. We want to get the songs out there and see what the world thinks. So what I'm knowing for certain is the more people that come out with these lists or not, it's just going to spark debates that we need to have. Who's good? Who's not good? And then we might even run into a guy who wants to just like be the guy who says, I'm reporting all the top 25. It changed this week, because it would change weekly, And then people could appreciate how it would change. It's subjective to me from where you're from, who you hang with, and how much music that you listen to, and what kind of music you listen to.
How consistent you are with putting music out. What are you doing with
I think it would be impossible to keep up with everyone's consistency because there's no database saying that. When they drop it. Yeah, or because the body of work and you can. It's hard. Apple Music and Spotify. I mean, it's hard, but you got to have a name in the search engine first. But what I'm saying is, if you're not even coming from no name in the search engine, we're just talking about an area. Give me the guys. Like, let me see what work and ball of work they've done and what the numbers are. Though that has to be calculated. That has to be statistically put down somewhere.
But if we're going off of that, because I know.
Well, then you don't go off the statistics. Let's say you go off of hype. Let's just say you go off of just hype alone, right? I mean, I think they do a number of things. It's just.
I like these artists, so I'm going to say that these are the best.
Right.
Because if we go on our analytics, honestly, this is not something that I'm thinking. Sukihana kicking everybody ass.
Right.
If we're going off analytics.
Right.
We talking about numbers, views, downloads, streams, monies, shows,
Yeah.
TV appearances, collabs. I don't even have to say.
Now, what happened when somebody actually made it out of here? What happened? Did everybody corral up and say, "Oh, Suki's the best"? Did they?
Hell no.
And they're not going to do it with the next person that leaves here and does it either. So if you're out here and you're listening, and if I sparked anything in you, they're not going to fucking love you. Okay? Just fucking know it. I'm just saying. I'm not asking you to be everybody's fucking favorite, and nobody is. Just do your best, and then take that for what it's worth. Because again, when you get situations, I'm just going off of my old man eyes. Okay? I'm looking at what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? And I'm not playing around with this whole conversation part of it because I don't want to joke around. I thought I'd come out and say a joke and shit like that. I don't want to fucking joke around because it's not a fucking joke. If you really want to be a top 25, start to do things that make you say, I'm going to be on top 25. I know everybody heard it, but you're going to turn the fuck up when you really want to do that shit. If you really want to be in your top 25 or anyone else's top 25, you're going to put yourself in harm's way. Other than keep hiding your records, and that's pretty much what you're doing because you're hiding them, putting them back, hiding them. You're trying to see if you're testing it. You're back testing the shit. Everybody knows what back testing is, nigga. You ain't put the shit out. You back testing it. You trying to see what people think before you put it out. You don't want people to say they didn't like it. Well, guess what, motherfucker? They're not gonna like it.
It actually stagnates a lot of artists down there, you know, like, because, like, Delaware not having, and this is like a catch-22, I'm gonna say it, with Delaware not having a, like, super sound identity, you know, like a super sonic sound, that's Delaware artists. These are Delaware artists. Delaware sounds like this. Without, like, that identity stamp, I think that it trickles down to a lot of artists stutter stepping. Let me see what works. Does this work? Should I put it out? Should I move with this? Should I go this direction? You know, I think this is my opinion, you know,
Yeah.
rapper,
Go ahead.
seeing how a lot of move, like, there's not a lot of confidence, you know?
Yeah.
It's not a lot of confidence. And, you know, when you can, like you said, you can be nice for your lot.
Yeah.
You can be nice for your lot.
Yeah.
But when you come into this industry, even at the low level, it's pay to play, and you gotta have your business right. But a lot of artists, in my opinion, don't care to learn the backside of business, the other side of business, because the rapping part is easy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest part. But when it comes to what your identity is going to be, how are you going to talk to your target audience, and how do you find your target audience? How do you appeal to them? How do you sell something? Because the music, honestly, is not going to sell by itself, and it never did.
Right.
Music never sold by itself. We can go back to Master P. We can go back to Run DMC.
Right.
And then look at all of the greats that came and did their thing. The highest moguls right now,
Yes, sir.
they put the music with something. And a lot of rappers are putting the music with something to build a brand and a company and a entity to actually sell something.
This is true.
You gotta be a hustler. Like, this is about really being a hustler. Like, we can sell all types of whatever outside.
True.
But when it comes to selling this is actually being a hustler for real.
Yeah.
So what would you like tell artists in like a few words of advice, you know, to step out, find confidence, and to actually build something that people want? How would you kind of like advise them to take those steps?
I'll tell you this. I believe, like, again, it's subjective. So what I believe ain't what everybody else believes. And, you know, I couldn't give you a list because I know too many people. It's like, well, if there was a list, then what are we talking about? Is there top gospel, or are we talking about R&B? We talking about nasty R&B, or are we talking about R&B where they talking about some good stuff? Are we talking about, because it's like so many different subgenres of this genre of music here, just music, the word music in Delaware. So what I think is kind of like how the Wu-Tang formed, or like you said, Master P. He had a whole bunch of artists. They didn't have a sound at the time, you know what I mean? So for us to kind of wish that we had a sound, it'd be hard for us. I think our sound is really our heartbeat. or if you want to use the word sound, it would just be how our pulse and our heartbeat is towards the records, because it's not going to come out the same for everybody who does music really good around here. It's not going to come out the same. It's going to sound totally good, but it's going to sound different. And when I say that, I mean we have like a Wu-Tang effect of, before Wu-Tang even came out, who knew that you could even rap like Old Dirty Bastard? Or who knew you could even give out bars like The Genius and really make sense and it still hit and resonate in the streets? Or even be a producer and a rapper like the RZA. Nobody knew these things. So like what I'm saying is, be open to it that anything could happen. It could be this or it could be that, but it's going to happen. And then however it happens, it's not going to be written by anyone else. It's going to be done by us, said by us, and put on, not by us, but we got it done through us because we really trying out here. Just like we're having this interview right now. This is power. This is energy. This is a lot of stuff that either if you wanted to hear it or you not wanted to hear it, if you stayed long enough to hear this interview and you wanted to hear what I got to say, that's cool. I understand I got a lot of shit to say. But, you know what I mean? The real gems are when you ask me these questions straight up, and are you contrite about them, or are you serious about them? You know what I mean? Because I could tell, not that I can tell, but I would like to be able to say that I can tell whether you're really trying to give it your best or not, Because there's a lot of times I may get calls. I get jail calls all the time. Now, there's people that want to get their record on. I've recorded people from jail plenty of times in different ways, but it's just hard for me to say, okay, now that you're in jail, because I've been locked up before. Now you're in jail, you want to make a record and you want to push it. How is this possible? So I'm fucking Red Room Records, nigga. I got a fucking Red Room Price Records this shit? No, man, my motherfucking nigga. We can't do it like that. We can't wait till we get to jail and then figure it the fuck out. This is where I'm trying to keep most of my young heads out of, because I know what kind of sad trip it is going over there on where it's at. And man, it's a real cold trip, man. Like, nobody wants to be in that mix right now, but when you're there, it's almost a time for you to sit back and realize what you need to do for yourself and your family and not worry about your career as much as like you think it is. Like, I really want to do the most for everybody, but when you start doing stuff and you're not putting in your best, I want to give it to you, I'm going to give it to you too, but we're going to start from one side and then we're going to move to the other side. And then we're going to move together because we're men. And I'm at the very least, trying to support a humankind. Like, you're human. I'm going to try to fucking help you the fuck out. I know the fuck you run the issues. I know you ain't got the money all the time. And I know shit be happening, but keep it real with me, dog. You would hate it if I fucking lost your fucking music and I kind of lied about it, wouldn't you? So keep it real with me, dog. I'm going to keep it real with you.
Yeah, going back to what you were just talking about, like, I want to go with the concept of being in jail and then wanting to push a record. I'm going to look at that and like you're playing with your time for one. Then you get into a situation where you're kind of confined now and you want to make a play because, dang, I done messed up and now I need to kind of set something up for myself to try to do right.
Yeah, well, I didn't say that to make light of it. I'm just saying we've all been through this. No, I know, but I'm just saying that for the listeners now. I want them to know, because sometimes we have we have great minds between each other. Then sometimes people lose you in the words. Don't lose me in the words right now. I fucks with you. My mans that called me, I fucks with you. But we all been there where it's like, I need to be doing something that's going to get me going. For what I know about music, I can't get you going from there. I can get you going from here, and then, because the biggest thing about even coaching was I could give a person skills and I could teach them what to do to either run, jump, or get better at their sport. But when you go home, ain't no food in the fridge, and your dad arguing with your mom, vice versa, mom arguing with the dad, you know what I mean? If your household's not right, basically, by the time you get back to me, everything that I taught you kind of like, you know what I mean? So I understand.
Eddie Murphy had like a little inspirational post where he was like, yo, you got about 75 good years, right? And that's if you're lucky. Now, you can live past 75 years, but within those 75 good years, like, make everything what you want it to be. Live life to the fullest. Don't play with your time. Unfortunately for us, we get messed up. We react off our emotions, land in jail. You know, but it's before a lot of our frontal lobes, you know what I'm saying, develop, and around 25 is when we come to our rationality around that. You know, some get it earlier, some get it a little later, some get it a lot later. But, you know, around that general area, that's when we're able to rationally make sound decisions for what we should and shouldn't do.
Right.
A lot of us mess up and get wrapped up in the system before
This is the fact.
we can even realize what we did. So by the time we come to a position like, yo, I really want to do something with my life, and it's crazy it might seem, I know niggas that, you know what I'm saying, doing it from, you know what I'm saying, you know, Joe too, free my brother, he, you know what I mean, call me like whenever you get a chance.
Free all the G's.
Yeah, I'm writing on, you see what?
Free all the G's.
All of it, you know, G's, the ones like.
The ones. Just the ones. Come on, we talking. We talking.
You know, and
Without
like,
question.
you know, you react because, like, let's be real, Wilmington, love it to death, but it's small city, small mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of, and it's not just here.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Sometimes, yo, science shows that a fish is not going to grow bigger than the body of water it's in.
Yes,
So
it's
our
true.
environment is our body of water. Sometimes if there's not a lot around, we're going to succumb to it.
It's
So,
true.
with those 75 good years, anybody that's listening, I would just say, live, do what you want to do, and don't play with it.
Yes, sir.
Don't play
Exactly.
with it. All right, well, I'm going to, you know, what I have you. All right, you know, let's, you know, sign off, you know, where we at, where they can find you, where they can find the studio.
Red Room Recordings. That's where we're at. I didn't mean to cut you, sir, but this is right now. I'm in the podcast room. We're starting to build onto that. I'd like to say thanks to JB. JB, thank you, sir, for doing everything you can to help these artists and the people out here that's doing the stuff. Thank you. We are on the west side of town. This is 1127 Chestnut Street, and we are right in town. You know what I mean? I'm just going to build up from here just the same way anybody else would build up anywhere else. Now, from the aesthetics, when you may look at it from outside, from off of Google or whatever, you might not be all whatever the hell. But let me tell you, everybody around here in this business, in this area of the business, knows that this is a business just like any other corner store. If you need to go in the corner store, there's nobody going to harass you while you're going in the corner store. So what I'm saying, I like to think that people respect you because this is the studio. This probably, even when I get to any other studio, it's crazy how people will rob everything out the studio, but they'll leave the information that, you know, leave the artists their shit though, but make sure you get everything else. You know, people do care about you as an artist here, and that's great. I just think that you don't know it yet because there's not enough top 25s out there for you to feel or see your name. So you don't fucking know. You're trying to act like it's not out here. It's here. So come on down, see me. 1127 Chestnut Street, Red Room Recordings. We call it R3. I got both the monikers on my arm. That's because I was really dedicated. Because that's what I am. I'm dedicated to my shit. I don't give a fuck if it looks stupid to you. Nigga, you look stupid. Say nah. All right, so that's all it is, brother. I appreciate this too, cause this was great.
Yeah, man, experience Real TV all up, and check out my man Engineer and Price at R3 Red Room Recording Studios in Wilmington, Delaware, and he's signing off just like that.
My last shorty was my last. I was down bad, but got the last laugh. Cause then I jumped up like the